I think we can now conclude with our last topic for the night. Okay. All right. So our last topic is going to be on arithmetic progression. Under arithmetic progression, we're going to look at how to find the nth term or the nth formula, how to find the terms, how to find the sum of the terms, the common difference obviously, and how to find the arithmetic mean. This question is rarely asked, how to find the arithmetic mean. So I'll show you the formula. By the way, let me make mention, the easiest way to pass paper 1 is knowing the formulas. As you have noticed, okay, here we haven't done a lot of formulas, but going forward, like these other topics that are remaining, you will notice that there are a lot of formulas that you need to use. Okay, AP for example has its own formulas. Let me look at the topics we are meant to capture throughout this whole crash course series. Okay, so on Wednesday we'll look at functions. Functions, there are no formulas there. Variation, you have to come up with the formulas yourself. Quadratic function graphs, there are formulas there for finding the turning point, the minimum value of y, the maximum value of y, and then there's also the quadratic equation, of course. And then when we go to Saturday evening, we're going to look at so we have calculus. Of course, calculus, there are no formulas, but unless when you're dealing with finding the equation of the normal to the curve, finding the equation of the tangent, or basically finding the equation of the curve. Coordinate geometry, this one has a lot of formulas, okay, but very simple to master, of course. Formula for finding the distance, formula for finding the midpoint, equation of a line, gradient, parallel lines, perpendicular lines, and all that. Area of a sector, there's one formula there. Matrices, usually paper 1 there are no formulas, unless it's paper 2. That's when you need to know how to find the determinant and the inverse, also the adjoint. Earth geometry, there are some formulas there for finding time difference formula. We also have the distance formula, and that's pretty much it. Inequalities is just coordinate geometry with a bit of linear programming. Speed time graph, there are also formulas there. So what am I trying to say? The easiest way to pass mathematics paper 1 is to make sure that you know these formulas. Don't compromise on the formulas. You can know how to solve the question, but if you don't know the formula, you can't solve it. Okay, it's like you have the means to travel to maybe a different planet. You have the means to go there, but you don't know the route. Okay? That is how it is when you don't have a formula. It's like you know where you know to say my home is in Avondale, but where you are located currently, the location where you are, you can't figure out the route to use to lead you to your place. In the end, you become stuck. So that the formula is a route to the answer. Okay, your goal is to get to the answer. But if you don't know the formula, you don't know the route to the answer. Pesa ulimu exam mwanga ungapempeche mzako ati what's the formula for finding this one? You know how to solve it, but maybe whether it's x squared or maybe it's 2 pi r, whether it's just 2 pi r squared or what. Nika formula ka distance mu earth geometry manjapa. Is it 2 pi r or is just pi r? To the point whereby as if you can even ask your neighbor or the examiner and say, what is the formula for finding? Is it 2 pi r or pi r? So that's how important formulas are in paper 1. As you are revising, make time to start mastering the formulas. Don't just solve. And as you are solving, you need to get to a point whereby you are solving without looking at your book, like you copy the formula from your book. That's how you become good at mastering formulas. Okay, start solving without referring to the formulas. In paper 1, you will be given 0 formulas. Therefore, you need to start mastering formulas right now if you have not been doing that already. Okay, so in paper 1 we have arithmetic progression. In paper 2 we have geometric progression. Okay, so let me show you that this is possible for you to know all these formulas. Of course, I've been teaching mathematics for a couple of years, almost 7 years now, but yeah, I am able to remember these formulas. Okay, I am able to write them, all of them. In paper 1 I can write all formulas. You can tell me what is this formula. If those of you are close to me, you can even ask one of these days, just test me. Point blank, Chabi, what is the formula for what? I'll tell you. What's the formula for what? I'll tell you all those. So I know it is possible for you to know these formulas. So under arithmetic progression, these are the formulas we're going to be dealing with. When you are asked to find the term, okay, the formula is just this one here. Let me just align this thing properly. I'm writing values in not a straight line. So the formula for finding the terms, whenever you're asked find the sixth term, like this question here, this is your formula: a plus open bracket n minus 1 d. Okay, I'll start explaining what each of those values mean later. When you're asked to find the nth term or the nth formula, there's this question here: find the nth term. Your formula is the same as the one for finding the terms: n minus 1 close bracket d. So already so far you know two formulas for finding the terms and finding the nth term or nth formula. The next one is for finding the common difference, which is t2 minus t1, or it can be d is equal to t3 divided minus t2. Okay, the next one we can look at is for finding the mean, arithmetic mean, which is 1 over 2a plus c. Excuse me. This is a question I said they rarely ask it. So maybe they might ask you, since it's rare, they might want to, maybe for the sake of trying to confuse students or candidates, they might bring in something that is very uncommon, like this formula which they rarely ask. I think I've only seen one question where they asked to find the arithmetic mean from 2016 to 2025. Okay, so you do well to master this one as well. Okay, then the last formula we're going to look at is for finding the sum of the terms. So it is Sn is equal to n over 2 open square bracket 2. This is the only new thing I need you to know. Okay, the rest is basically this formula here, because you're going to just add an a there and then you say plus n minus 1 close bracket d close bracket. So when you're mastering these formulas, this is the simplest way. Okay, there's a way I do things, okay, and this helps me easily remember things. So I'll inspect this formula here, this one. How different is it from this one? Okay, you will notice to say the only difference is that this one kuri aya values yali apa n over 2 open square bracket nakatu up. The rest is basically the formula for finding what? The terms, or finding the nth term. So meaning when trying to master this whole formula, all I'll do is first I'll start with this one. When I know that one, then I'll come to this one and then I just master this part. I know to say there's n over 2 open square bracket 2. Then class 2 it's just the formula for finding the terms. Then I would have known both of these formulas, because this is the only one people have issues with, because it seems to have a lot of values, but you already know this one. So the only new values is just the n over 2 open square bracket 2. That's the only new part of the formula. Okay, so these are the formulas you are going to look at under arithmetic progression. So now we have a, n, d in these formulas. What do these symbolize? So an arithmetic progression is basically a sequence of numbers, or an ordered pair of numbers where a pattern exists. For example, you have 1, 3, 5. You will notice that to move from 1 to 3, we need to add a what? A 2. To move from 3 to 5, we need to add another 2. To move from 5 to 7, we need to add a what? Another 2. This is why we're saying a pattern exists, because we keep adding the same number to the previous terms or to the terms to get the next term. Okay, now this same number you keep adding, the same number that you keep adding, this number doesn't change. That number you keep adding is called the what? The common difference, and it is represented by the small letter d. Don't write something like this, t is equal to t2 minus t1. This is wrong. Formulas in mathematics are case sensitive. What do I mean? This is case sensitive. It simply means if the formula has a small letter d, it must be a small letter d. Okay? Don't change it to a capital letter D. The examiner will think, oh, I've never seen this before. Where is this person getting this from? Okay? If you go to coordinate geometry, you find that there's a formula for a small letter m and another one for a capital letter M. This one is for the gradient, this one is for the midpoint. So imagine you switch them around, and then you have a strict examiner like myself marking your paper. I'll get some marks just because instead of saying small letter m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, then what do you decide to do? You decide to shock me by writing it this way. You say m is equal to y2 minus y1 everything over x2 minus x1. This is the correct formula. This one is wrong. So if you are dealing with a strict examiner like myself, I'll get some marks because of this guy here. And then maybe kunasa check amos kutu the distinction 1. You end up with distinction 2 because of that 1 mark. So you don't know who is going to be marking your paper. Don't compromise on these basic things. The answer is supposed to be -2. Nika negative check na ivala. Remember we said if you can't see the sign, it simply means it's a positive. So this is the correct answer. You gave me this one. Therefore, I'll mark it wrong. So don't compromise on these simple things. So like I mentioned, formulas are case sensitive. Okay? Make sure you write these formulas in the correct case. So that is that. The common difference is represented by a small letter d. We now go to A. What does A mean? A simply means the first term. When you have a sequence like the example I gave you, 1, 3, 5, 7, the first one is represented by T1, term number 1. So T1 also. The 1 is a subscript. It is not T1 like that. It is not T2. The 2 should be a subscript, a small value down here. Okay? So please make sure you do the right thing. Okay? So this is how you actually name the terms. So this is 1 is term number 1. Term number 1 is equal to 1 according to this sequence. Term number 2 is 3. So you're going to say T, a small 2 down here, is equal to a 3. You've noticed the difference between this 3 and this 2 here. Okay? The 2 is much smaller than the 3. Okay? Term number 3 is equal to a 5 there. This is term number 3. Term number 4 is equal to the 7 there. So now term number 1 is also known as A. Okay? So here in the formulas, wherever you are seeing A, just know that I have to put the first term there. Wherever you are seeing D, that is a common difference. So now I'll talk about the N when we start solving these questions. So let us now look at the first example. I hope that is clear and we are all on the same page. So the first example is coming from 2024 paper 1, and okay, let me leave the formulas for reference. So the question says, given that 99, 92 and 85 are the first 3 terms of an arithmetic progression. By the way, arithmetic progression when abbreviated is just AP. Geometry progression is just GP. So in some questions they might say, given the AP, just know they are saying arithmetic progression. Okay, so 92, 99, 92, 85 are the first three terms of an AP. Find the sixth term. So the first thing you do is, let's call this one question 1A. You are finding the terms. Okay, you've been asked to find a term. You need to write down the formula for finding the terms, which is Tn is equal to A plus open bracket n minus 1 D, and then you put your data table there. In this formula, what do you need? You need A, you need N, you need D. Okay, so now what is your A? Your A, remember we said A is the first term of the sequence. You go back to your question. What is the first term? It is 99. So meaning my A is what? 99. What is my N? N represents the number you are finding. They are asking us to find the sixth term, meaning N becomes 6. Here they are asking us to find the ninth term, meaning N in that formula becomes 9. Okay, so in this case they're asking us to find the sixth term, so your N becomes 6. What is the common difference? Now this is the guy you need to find. Remember we said the common difference formula is T2 minus T1. D will therefore be equal to, what is T2? You go back to your sequence or your progression. What is the second term? This is the first term, that is the second term. Second term is 92. So you're going to say 92 minus the first term. What is the first term? The first term is 99. So we're going to say minus 99. Meaning your common difference will be equal to negative 7. And you are done. So here where there is D, you put negative 7. Having found the common difference, you can now plug in these three values into your formula to find the sixth term. So I'll now go back to my formula and start plugging in those values. So allow me to push it this side. Okay, there is an N here. I said N is what? 6. So I'll put a small 6 here, equals, what is A? A is 99. You can see it right there. So I'll put 99 there, plus, open bracket. What is my N? Again, my N is the same value. There is a 6 there for N. So I'll say 6 minus 1, close bracket. What is the common difference there? The common difference is negative 7. So I'll put negative 7 there. Now, take note that here, remember I gave you that example the time we're looking at algebra. A plus B plus C there. I said this number here multiplies with a B, also multiplies with a C. Similarly, when this number is switched to this side, take note that there is no sign here. I gave you two examples. Okay, I gave you one where there was a sign here and one where there wasn't a sign. There is no sign here. It simply means this A is still multiplying with that one there and this one here. Okay, now let us investigate the formula. The formula is Tn is equal to A plus N minus 1 D. Meaning this D has to multiply with that one there and this one here. So now if you leave this value like this, it simply means it's now going to be, when you solve here, then you subtract from 7. So that is why this is a principle you need to follow. Whenever your common difference is a negative, put it in brackets like this, so that it can still show that it is supposed to multiply with this bracket. I've seen students who just leave it like this, and then they'll say when they simplify, 6 minus 1 is a 5 in brackets, and then they'll say minus 7. Then the answer they'll put is negative 35, which is correct because they have multiplied. But remember that your working also carries marks. So this is an error in your working, because this is telling me to say it's supposed to be 5 minus 7, of which the answer you should expect is a negative 2. But you multiplied because you know to say the D is supposed to multiply with everything inside the brackets. So you need to make sure that you also show it by putting the negative common difference in what? In brackets. Don't forget that. Okay, you might find a strict examiner marking your paper, and then they will reduce a 1 just by that error there. Okay, so once we do that, we can now start solving for Tn T6, term number 6. So according to BODMAS, we have to start with the brackets. So I'm going to say plus, open brackets, 6 minus 1 there is a 5. Open bracket, close bracket, like that. And then we multiply. 5 times negative 7. So remember, the 5 there is a positive. So I'm going to say term number 6 is equal to 99 plus. This plus, we have brought it down. Okay, if we said if you can't see the sign, then what does that mean? It means the sign is positive. So this is positive 5 times negative 7. So positive times negative is what? Negative. 5 times 7 is 35. But remember here, the negative is a sign. That is why, like I mentioned at the beginning, remember to put a negative number in brackets. At this point, we can now open the brackets by multiplying the signs. Positive times negative is negative, then we have 35 there. We have no calculator in paper 1, so we have to solve this one manually. We go find some space on your actually nowadays they've changed the format. Your paper 1 question, of course paper 1 you write your answers and your working should be right within the answer sheet, the question paper. Even paper 2 is like that. So you should make sure you use your space wisely. Okay, don't let your solutions spill into that section where it says examiners use only. So work with your space very well. So just somewhere within the exam paper you simplify this one. Okay, so 9 minus 5 is a 4, 9 minus 3 is a 6. Okay, so now here always remember to pick the sign of the bigger number. So the bigger number is positive, so meaning our final answer is positive 64. And we are done. That is the sixth term. Having found the sixth term, we can proceed to the next question, which is asking us to find the nth formula. To find the nth formula, all you are doing is you are solving for n. So remember, the formula is the same as for finding the terms. So nth will be equal to a plus open bracket n minus 1 close bracket d. When you are solving for n, all you need are these values a and d. We found the first term as 99 and then the common difference as negative 7. So simply plug this into your formula and then simplify. So I'm going to say nth is equal to a is 99 plus n minus 1. We're solving for n. That is why we have n minus 1 in there. Okay, we said when the common difference is a negative, you need to put it in brackets. So meaning nth will be equal to 99 plus this plus here. Okay, then remember this negative 7 has to multiply with positive n and negative 1. So we're now going to say negative here times the positive there, it gives you a what? A negative. Then we're going to say 7 times n, that is 7n. You close the bracket. You go to the negative 1. Okay, this negative times that negative there, it gives you a positive. 7 times 1 is a 7. So meaning nth in this case will be equal to 9. We now say a positive times this negative here is negative. Then the 7n can come outside of the brackets. Then we say plus 7. You see how examiners are also funny? Are still funny actually. We've seen what they've done here. They deliberately put a 7 there and a 7 there, so that you can add or subtract whatever you decide to do, because the numbers are the same. But remember, the time we're looking at algebra, we said you can only add or subtract like terms. These are not like terms because this one doesn't have an n. So this one and this one are the like terms. So meaning we're going to say nth will be equal to 9 plus 7 minus 7n. So the final answer will be nth is equal to 99 minus plus 7. That gives us 106 minus 7n. Okay, this answer meets the standard, the recommended standard, where your answer starts with a positive number. And you are done. That is your formula or nth term. As simple as that. Okay, I don't see any question, so we proceed to the next question. The next question is saying the sequence 20, 17, 14. Let me just write it down. We have 20, 17, 14. That's our sequence. Find the ninth term. So let's call this one question 2. We said to find the terms, this is the formula I use. A plus open bracket n minus 1 close bracket d, of which from your data table there you need A, you need n, you also need d. So develop a habit of writing down your data table. I know some of you just solve without writing this, but please use it. It will help you solve better. So what is your A? Your A is just the first term of the sequence. The first term of the sequence is a 20. So put a 20 there. What is n? You check your question. What are they asking me to find? They're asking me to find the ninth term. So my n becomes what? 9. What is d? The common difference. I'll go back to my sequence. The formula for finding the common difference is d is equal to t2 minus t1. Then I'll check. What is t2? T2 is 17 here. Term number 2. 17 minus. What is term number 1? 20. Okay, that's a 20 there. And the examiners like a negative common difference. You notice most of these questions that you solve, you find that the common difference is a negative. So if you notice here, the signs are different. Keep the sign of the bigger number, 20. 20 minus 17, it's negative 3. So your common difference is negative 3. They just want someone to forget putting the common difference in brackets. Then they will have a wrong answer. Okay? So we have found those 3 values now. These ones. We can now find the ninth term. So we're going to say T9. There's n here, remember. What is your n? It is a 9. So that's why I've put a 9 there, is equal to A is what? 20 plus. There's another n there, so I'll put a 9 minus a 1 close. What is the common difference? Negative 3. It's a negative, therefore it deserves to be put in brackets. T9 is going to be equal to 20 plus. You simplify inside the brackets. What is 9 minus 1? It is 8. Close the bracket. Negative 3. Close. Term number 9 will therefore be equal to 20 plus. You bring down this plus, and then you're going to multiply. Positive times this negative here is a negative. So you put that in brackets. And then 8 times 3, that should be 24. Okay, 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 8, that's 24. So we have 24 there, meaning T9 is going to be equal to 20. Then you say positive times negative here, negative. The 24 comes outside. Term number 9 finally will be equal to, when the signs are different, you get the sign of the bigger number, subtract. So your final answer is what? Negative 4. So now you will notice to say, okay, I found the negative 4 as term number 9, but term number 1 is a 20. How does this work? So investigate the sequence, the progression. You notice to say these numbers are decreasing. And on the number line, this is your 0. This side you have positives, this side you have negatives. So this sequence is heading in this direction, towards the negatives. Therefore, it is possible for you to find a negative number as your term number 9. What should worry you should be when you have a sequence like let's say for example you have 5, 3, 1, nothing here, and then they ask you to find maybe the 7th term. Then you find a positive. There you should worry, because clearly you can see to say this term, this progression is heading in the negatives, and we are already at 1. So meaning definitely the next term should be less than 1. Then you find a term bigger than even the first term here. Then you should worry, because remember we said an arithmetic progression is an ordered term of numbers where a pattern exists. If it is going towards the positive, it's just positive direction. Okay, it doesn't change to say it has now gone too much into the positives, then it starts coming back. No, if it is heading towards the negatives, it is towards the negatives. You can see here the first question, this is heading towards the negatives because the numbers are reducing. 98, 9, 92, 85, Even this one, 20, 17, 14, heading towards the negatives. So whatever terms you're going to find ahead should be also heading towards the negatives. Okay, this one here is being incremented. 1, 7, 13. This one is heading towards the positives. So that is one thing you can do to check your answer after you found the answer. Sometimes you can check a sign, come a negative work, you've forgotten it. Okay, so make sure you don't compromise. We now go to the next one. Find the sum of the first 10 terms. We said the formula for finding the sums is Sn is equal to n over 2, open bracket, you added 2 again. Then now you write the formula for finding the terms. A plus open bracket n minus 1, close bracket d, close square bracket. We need the data table here. The same values you used. You need A, you need N, you need the common difference. So what is your A? Go to your sequence. Your A is 20. You write your 20. What is N? Go to the question. They're asking me to find the sum of the first 10 terms. So meaning my N is 10. What is my common difference? I go to my sequence. The common difference we found was negative 3. It's the same question. Plug this into your formula and solve. So I'm going to say S, what is N? We're finding the 10th, sum of the first 10 terms. So your N changes to 10 over 10 there again, there's an N there, over 2, open square bracket, 2. What is your A? Your A is 20. You write your 20 there, plus. There's another N, so put 10 there, minus 1, close bracket, and then what is your common difference? It is negative 3. So you're going to put that in brackets as well, like that, and then you close the square bracket. So now we're going to say sum of the first 10 terms is equal to, here you notice that we can simplify here. 10 divided by 2 gives us a 5. So you can say 5 there, open square bracket, 2 times 20 is 40. Okay, plus. We also simplify in the brackets there, 10 minus 1 is 9. Okay, multiplied by negative 3 at the end there. So we're now going to say sum of the first 10 terms is equal to 5. Don't forget this 5 here. Okay, 5, open square bracket, 40 plus. If you don't see the sign, it means it's a positive. So we say positive times a negative there, it gives us a negative. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, sum of the first 10 terms will therefore be equal to 5, open bracket, 40. Then we're going to say positive times this negative here, it's negative. The 27 comes outside the brackets. What is 40 minus 27? Okay, we now work it out. So we say 40 minus 27. What do we get? So we get a 1 from there, we remain with a 3, 10 there. 10 minus 7 is a 3, 3 minus 2 is a 1. So I'm getting a 13 inside the brackets like that. So meaning sum of the first 10 terms will be equal to, what is this 13 times 5? 5 times 3 is 15. Remember 1, 5 times 1 is 5 plus that one, 65. So the sum of the first 10 terms is equal to 65 and you are done. As simple as that. I'll give it a few seconds in case someone has just developed a question. Okay. Remember, like I said, AP is one of the simplest subjects, topics in math paper 1. Okay, we're just remaining with 2 questions and then we'll call it a night. So we go to the next one, where they're asking us to find the 8th term. So the sequence they've given us, so by sequence I simply mean progression. It's one and the same thing. Okay, that is our progression. They're asking us to find the 8th term. Okay, T8. Sometimes they want to use English to confuse people. So we're finding a term. So we use the formula for finding the terms, which is A plus open bracket n minus 1 close bracket d. You come to your data table there. You need to write A, you need to write n, and you need to write d. So what is your A? First term. sequence, the first term is a 1 there. What is n? They are asking us to find what? T8. So your n becomes 8. What is your common difference? We are going to say d is equal to term number 2 minus term number 1. D will be equal to term number 2 is what? 7. So we're going to say 7 minus term number 1 is 1. So the common difference is a 6. So we put a 6 there. At this point, we now plug in those values and solve. So we're going to say T6. Remember our n is what? 8 actually. T8. T8 is equal to, our n is 8. A is what? 1 plus. What is n? 8 minus 1 close. And then what is our d? 6. When it is a positive, it can stay out in the code. When it is a negative, we cover it with brackets. Okay. So at this point, we solve. 1 plus open bracket 8 minus 1, 7. Okay. T8 is equal to 1 plus 7 times 6, that is 42. Meaning term number 8 is equal to 43. And you're done. Okay. We go to the next one. Find the sum of the first 15 terms. Okay, this one is an interesting one. Sum of the first 15 terms. What's the formula we use? Sn is equal to n over 2 open square bracket 2a minus plus open bracket n minus 1 close d close. Okay, you need your data here. What is your a? Okay, let me push the data to the right because this is a long formula. What is your a? What is your n? What is your d? Just these three. A, first term. What is the first term here? 1. What is n? What are they asking you to find? Sum of the first what? 15. So n is 15. Common difference, we found 6. We solve. So I'm going to say s what? S 15. And got phone manja. Okay, is equal to 15 over 2. Samsung. 2, what is your a? It is 1 plus open bracket n is what? 15 minus 1 close bracket. The d is a positive, so it is strong enough to stay in the code. No need to put brackets. Okay, now you notice here you can't simplify this guy. It will give you a decimal, so you need to chill for this one. You just write it the way it's appearing. You simplify what you can simplify. You do that one at the end. So I'm going to say 2 times 1 there is a 2. Okay, and then plus 15 minus 1 in the brackets is 14 times the 6 outside there. So I'm going to say S15 is equal to 15 over a 2 open bracket. Okay, like that. You can now use this one. 2 plus, what is 14 times 6? You solve manually. Don't do it mentally. 6 times 4 is 24. 2. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 1, 84. Okay, so meaning there you have 84. S15 will be equal to 15 over a 2 open bracket 86, right? 2 plus 84 is 86. So now what you have here is the same as 15 over a 2 times 86. Now you notice to say we can say 2 there, 1, 2 into 8, 4 into 6, 3. Right? They mean the same thing. Okay? So meaning you know to say S15 will give you, okay, we have enough time to finish actually. S15 will give you 15 times 43, right? 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 8 is 4, into 6 it is 3. Then now you can multiply 15 times 43. Okay, 3 times 5, that is 15, remainder 1, 3 times 1, 3 plus that one, 4. Okay, 4 times 5, that is 20. 4 times 1 is 4 plus that one, 6. So we're going to get 645. Okay, 645. We have 45. Okay, let me just put it here. This is what we have there. When you add, we're going to say 5, 4, 6. So sum of the first 15 terms will therefore be equal to 645. Now I know there's someone who wrote this paper who left this question simply because they couldn't simplify here. They were not patient enough to reach this stage here where they could easily simplify. Okay, so that is that. We now remain with colors fight Yakamanchi. So this one I'm feeling like giving to you as an assignment. Okay. I think this will come as an assignment. I have limited questions for these ones. Okay, this is a very nice one, but I'll give you some tips. Okay, here what being given, when did this one come actually? It came in 2020, paper 1. Okay, so this one says, given that the 11th term of an arithmetic progression is 43 and that the first term is 3, find the common difference, the fourth term. So now what you notice here is that they have given you distant terms. They are saying that the 11th term of an AP is 43. Term number 11 is equal to what? 43. And then the first term, okay, term number 1 is equal to what? 3. Find the common difference. You agree with me that you can only find the common difference when you have consecutive terms that are following each other, like T2, T3, because you can now say T3 minus T2 to find the common difference. But here you have T11 and this is T1. It is not possible for you to easily find the common difference. So how can you solve this type of equation? Okay, I think there are two ways you can do this. Okay, I've never used the other way, so let me experiment with you people upon stream exam manje tapeza question kako different. Okay, so we're now going to say what we're going to do is we're going to come up with two equations. We're going to solve this question simultaneously. Okay, I'm drawing this method from GP, geometric progression, because there we do a couple of simultaneous equations, because you get to have different terms. A lot of different terms are given in GP. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up with a formula for T11. Remember, the formula for finding the terms is this one. Okay, n minus 1 d. Now you will notice to say it brings me back to the same method I use. Okay, so remember T1, term number 1, is also known as what? A. So if you come to your data table there, you have A already given to you as 3. D is what they're asking you to find. Okay, so what you are going to use is the information you've been given. Okay, we say Tn, n is a term you're trying to find, right? So in this case we have T11, meaning what is your n? Your n is what? 11. Term number 11. Okay, so meaning your n, you have n is 11, but you already have term number 11 again as what? As 43. So you can also add it here. Term number 11 is actually equal to what? 43. Then you are going to use the formula as if you are finding term number 11, okay, to solve this question. So instead you are going to say term number 11 is equal to A plus n minus 1 d. Then now you notice to say term number 11 iliko kudala but pass and 43 ilimo question. So instead of saying term number 11, I'll put my 43 there. And then I'll say equals, they've also given us the first term as what? 3. I'll put my 3 where there's A. And then I'll say plus. Now where there's n, what am I supposed to put there? Am I supposed to put 43 or am I supposed to put 11? Remember we said here there's an n, even there there's an n. The value you put there should be the value you put there. Okay, this 43 here is representing the actual value sitting at position 11. Okay, so meaning here you notice to say n is what? Is 11 and not 43. So there where there's n, you're going to put 11 minus 1 and not 43. I've seen students do this. That's why I'm emphasizing. Now you'll notice to say from this formula, the only thing we don't know is what? The common difference. So now let me just explain what we have done. Whenever, okay, or maybe in this exam you don't know. This question came in 2020. It's been a long time since they brought this question. If they bring such a question for you people, where they give you distant terms, actually there's another example. In this other example, they gave us the common difference and the term. Then they asked us to find the first term. So that one is going to be one of the assignment questions I'll give you. So whenever you are given such a question, you are supposed to use the term they give you. Form a formula for the term they gave you. So they've given us term number 11 in the question. They are saying the 11th term is equal to what? 43. So we write your formula. You write your formula for the term you have been given. They've given us term number 11, hence this formula for term number 11. Okay, but instead of saying T11, you already know the term sitting at position 11. So instead of saying T11, you plug in that particular value at position what? 11. T11 simply means position 11. Okay, and the number sitting at position 11 is 43. So you now plug in that number. Okay, if they gave you the common difference, like in the question I'll give you, here instead of saying D, you put your common difference there. And then now you notice there, you have to put the term corresponding to the position where it's sitting. So this particular number is sitting at position what? Position 11. So ndiye ofaka hapa, not this number. Okay, I think these are enough tips now for the assignment I'll give you. So at this point, we simply solve. And the answer we should find should give us the first term, the common difference. So I'm now going to say 43. If we want, this 3 can actually go to the left side. So that we say 43 minus 3 is equal to 10 in the brackets, because 11 minus 1 is 10, and then you have a D there. Okay. Then we can say 43 minus 3, that is a 40, which is equal to 10 times D is 10D. Then you divide both sides by 10. Both sides by 10 like that. The 10s will cancel here, the zeros will cancel. Then you say 4 divided by 1, it's a 4. Meaning your common difference is what? Is 4. And you are done. As simple as that. Okay. Okay. Then we go to okay. I think I've erased the question you're trying to compare with, Mr. William. Okay. But we can actually chat after the session. Okay, so we go to question, which question? Fourth term. They are now asking us to find the fourth term. That's the last question. Then we can call it a night. Okay, that's our fourth term. So we say Tn is equal to A plus open bracket n minus 1 close bracket D. So we are finding the fourth term. So T4 is equal to, what is our A? Our A was given in the question as what? As a 3. So we say 3 plus, what is our n? We're finding the fourth term, so n becomes 4 minus 1. The common difference, we found the common difference as 4, right? Down here. Okay. Then we solve. So we're going to say term number 4 is equal to 3 plus 4 minus 1 gives us a 3. Close bracket. And then we're going to say times the 4 outside there. So T4 will be equal to 3 plus 4, 4 times 3, that is 12. So meaning the fourth term is 15. And you are done. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our crash course for the 3 topics we intended to cover. The time is 24:12. We have spilled over by 12 minutes. okay, which can be said those minutes went towards the time we're waiting for people to join. Okay, so we have at least kept time. So all these questions we've covered will come in your paper, but it shouldn't end here. Watching videos, following lessons is not enough to pass mathematics paper 1 or paper 2. It requires practicing. So when I give you an assignment, and believe me, to be a very nice assignment, my students know what I mean when I say nice assignment, so you better brace yourselves. So when I give you an assignment, please submit. Let me correct you where you have made errors, so that in the exam you don't make the same errors. Because if I don't correct you now, you will not know that what I did was wrong. When you go into the exam room, you still find the same errors. Okay, you still make the same mistakes. That is why it is important for you to submit assignments. Okay, sometimes in case I'm unable to mark your work, but you did the work, you can now compare your answers with the solutions video I share. Because the same assignment I'll give you, I'll also solve it and then share the link to the video of the solutions, so you can easily compare also. Okay, so the goal to passing mathematics paper 1 is this: make sure you know your formulas. Like I mentioned, you need to be smart about it. Don't shoot everywhere. No, time has gone for you to start experimenting. Start picking questions and start hammering those questions mercilessly. Okay, make sure whatever question you are attempting, if you are looking at AP, you switch from 2019 wind up 2018, you are many tones a GC 910. You go to 2017, you hammer everything correctly. By the time you're getting to 2020, AP, you go to the next one. Maybe let's say indices. You start hammering. 2020, you hammer. 2021, 2022, just like that. Pick your questions now and start perfecting. Now is not the time for you to start experimenting. What about this one? What about this one? This time you're going to be using to experiment could be time you're using to perfect, so that in the exam, no matter what comes, you are ready. You are geared to get that distinction. Okay, so now is the time for you to start perfecting now. It's not the time to start learning new skills and all that. Start perfecting. Start focusing on questions that you're going to choose in the exam. If it's paper 2, those questions that we covered, those are your targets. Start perfecting those questions. Don't start learning my statistics, my transformation. You're wasting time, which you could have been using to perfect those 4 that we picked. So now is not the time for experiments, please. This will help you a lot in the exam. Otherwise, thank you for your time and for showing interest. On Wednesday, this is what I'll be looking at with the next group. If you're interested, you know the needful, you know what you're supposed to do. Simply early bird registration. I've had a few people register for this one, so the early bird registration is still available. Early bird registration is just 30 kwacha per crash course. If you delay, you will pay 40 kwacha. And then we'll be looking at these topics on Wednesday: functions, variation, quadratic function graphs. So if you know you genuinely need help in these other topics as well as illustrated here, please make sure you also jump on board. You will not regret this time you are making. I'm sure by now vipanga sense. You're able to see okay, vipanga sense. The money I'm investing here is at least it's showing that I'm getting something from this. As you've noticed, we've just touched exam questions throughout. No text paper, no like textbooks or pamphlets, just pure exam questions. And that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the crash course. So otherwise, that is that. Thank you for staying up late until this point. These hours you're putting in will show the time the results will come out. So please continue sacrificing your sleep some. I know it's not easy. Some of you have to report for work tomorrow, but you're making this time. So please continue sacrificing, so that when the results come out, you'll be smiling because you'd have managed to get that distinction 1. Otherwise, if you sleep now, if you are lazy now, the time the results will come out, you'll even be running away from me. You won't want to see me, which is not nice. So let us meet and laugh about it, and remember, these hours we're spending here solving mathematics. Otherwise, all the best. Remember to practice, practice, and practice. This has been Tutor Abednego. Enjoy your rest.